No more. Where we speak truth to power. And my name, Blakk Rasta. Now this is the Black Pot, aka Kukushunuman. Here we speak truth to power. But remember, right here we don't criticize. But if we must criticize, we'd only just criticize to build and not to destroy. That is the only condition. Now from the newsreel, we always endeavor to keep it real. This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushunuman. And today we have a number of issues we want to look at. And I need you to come along. Now the very first thing I want to look at is taken from Peace FM Online. And it says, Bugri Nabu leaked tape. I doff my heart to President Akufo-Addo. And this is 70-year-old Kwesi Pratt Jr., a veteran journalist, talking. I read, Kwesi Pratt has commended President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo over the leaked tape involving senior police officers, COP Alex Mensah and Superintendent George Asare, on their plot to remove the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare. In the said tape, the IGP is accused by the officers of misconduct that may result in the New Patriotic Party losing the 2024 elections. The officers and Bugri Nabu are under an ongoing investigation by a parliamentary committee, and the president is revealed to have rejected lobbying for a different Inspector General of Police. Commenting on this, Kwesi Pratt said, if the president really did that, then he deserves commendation. If what Bugri Nabu and co are saying is true, that indeed the president didn't accept the lobbying and so forth, we applaud the president. We doff our hat for the president for not allowing himself for partisan considerations to lead him. Now, my brother, my sister, we've been talking about this leak tape for some time now. I'm not going to spend so much time on that. It was a leak tape that had two senior police officers plotting to remove the IGP, Inspector General of Police, for one reason, that he is not a sympathizer of the party in power, nothing more. My brother, my sister, one of them, George Alex Mensah, made it clear in the tape that yes, if he was considered as IGP, that would be nice. If not him, any other person would be okay. But when he sat in the committee meetings, the inquiry, he said that he had lobbied several times through Bugri Nabu and some other people to be able to rise to the level of the IGP. Of course, lobbying is legal. To lobby is just to go around you, telling you that, well, these are my credentials. And I'll be so glad if you consider me fit enough to occupy a certain position. That is not corruption. But in our country, lobbying has become so corrupt because you don't just go talk about your credentials. You also part with money. In our country, lobbying is done in a form that is equivalent to bribery and corruption. But in this case, he went all the way to a party executive, Bugri Nabu, asking him to lobby the president so that he will be made the next IGP. Now you can see that George Alex Mensah is a man who is inundated with so much hatred, inundated with so much jealousy and envy. He hates the IGP. He doesn't want the IGP to be the IGP, all because the IGP, my brother, my sister, belongs to a different political party. My brother, my sister, it is sad, but that is where we are. Now let us consider what my senior colleague and father, Kwesi Pratt Jr., is talking about. He says we must commend the president. Of course, the president deserves commendation. If the president refused all the lobbying around him, knowing very well that these are senior police officers who can make or unmake his party during the elections, and he still stood firm and said that, listen, despite your lobbying, despite the fact that this man here, who is the IGP, is said to be a member or a sympathizer of the party in opposition, please, let it slide. Let's keep our eyes open. Now, for a president to choose the IGP, it is for discussion another day. For a president to choose the judges that will sit on cases, Supreme Court judges, High Court judges, and so on and so forth, my brother, my sister. That's a discussion for yet another day. But in this case, certainly the president deserves commendation. But let us look beyond just refusing the lobbying. Why did they leak this tape? If Bukri Nabu said he was the one who recorded it, and the sole owner of that tape, and the only person he gave it to was the president, how did it find its way into the public domain? Did the president leak it so that they'll be able to stand on that and remove the IGP, or distract the IGP? My brother, it could be yet another plot by the president and his dirty party in power, my brother, my sister, to remove the IGP. Now we all know if Mr. President gets up and says that, well, I'm changing the IGP. Many are those who are going to say, oh, but you just chose this IGP. He was the acting IGP. Now his work was very commendable. You decided to make him the IGP, substantial one. All of a sudden, you are kicking him out. What happened? So the easiest way could be, okay, there's a leak tape. Everybody says this man is not a good IGP. Then let us start a certain kind of committee sittings of inquiry. Right after that, we will be able to find a beautiful way of kicking out the IGP so that another one could come into being who will support our party. Has anybody looked at that side? To lobby the president and make him remove the IGP might be a very Herculean task. But to leak the tape and let Ghanaians think about it, establish a certain body of inquiry into these issues. At the end of what day, the IGP will be vilified and kicked out, my brother, my sister. It could be a very beautiful plan to remove the IGP. My brother, my sister, imagine the president being told that there's a certain IGP that he chose who is against his party, and that his party is going to lose the next election if this IGP continues to be there. You think the president is going to take it kindly? He certainly loves his party. Whatever be the case, he wants his party to continue to govern. So what would he do? My brother, my sister, it is so simple. What he will do is let the inquiry start. Let us get more people to say exactly what they said on the tape. After all, they are party sympathizers and members. Vilify as much as you can the IGP. Spoil him. Make him look bad. Give a cat a bad name, so it will be easy for us to hang him. Then we can pick an IGP who is a sympathizer of our party. And then after that, we can all jubilate and dance because we removed our enemy, the IGP who didn't like our party. Please think about that. Next thing I'm looking at, my brother, my sister, is coming from the graphic. In fact, government communicator right here in Ghana is called the graphic. And this one says, suspected fake doctor did not attend to patients. And this is Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital talking. I read. The Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital, CAF, in Kumasi, has refuted allegations that the suspected fake doctor, apprehended at the hospital on Monday, attended to patients at the facility. The suspect, who identified himself as Dr. William Cecil Cohen, based on the name on his scrub dress, was confronted on the walkway behind the Accident and Emergency Center after providing unsatisfactory answers about his identity and purpose at the hospital. A statement issued by CAF's public relations officer, Mr. Kwame Frimpong, clarified that the suspect was not found in any service points within the hospital, and therefore he could not have attended to patients, contrary to circulating rumors. The statement provided more details about the incident, stating that a hospital director encountered the suspect on the walkway behind the A&E Center. That's the Accident and Emergency Center. Now, the suspect, carrying a backpack and wearing a scrub dress with the name Dr. William Cyril Cohen, claimed to be passing through the hospital to deliver something to someone and attempted to leave when questioned about his identity and workplace. Suspicious of the situation, the director raised an alarm and the fleeing suspect was apprehended, consequently handed over to the police. My brother, my sister. The Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital is a very powerful hospital. In Kumasi, we simply call it G. I don't know why it's called G. But
the construction company that constructed is G.
They call it G. And I'm told that the construction company that was employed to build the hospital was called G. So they named it after G, that construction company. But a more superior name is Komfo Anokye, the man who contributed to the upliftment of this country and even beyond. I respect that hospital. It's the only hospital in the world named after a so-called fetish priest. The whole world, not even in India, not in Benin, not in Nigeria. Komfo Anokye, the fetish priest Anokye, so-called. And when you go there, they built it at the right place, where the sword that he inserted into the ground is still lurking around. The spirit of the man is still lurking around the area. My brother, my sister, I don't want to go into the history of that great man. But if you have such a hospital, recently they were talking about breaking down some buildings there because they were a danger to human habitation, and so on and so forth. Let me take you a little bit back into history. Do you remember when babies were stolen from hospitals? Komfo Anokye Hospital was the chief principal point of stealing babies. Babies were missing left, right, and center. In collaboration with nurses in the hospital, we were told. Babies were stolen. It was rife in the news. In fact, people from the Zongos in Kumasi, Asawasi, and the rest of those places went to demonstrate. In fact, they were ready to beat nurses there. We all remember how dead bodies, aka corpses, were left on the ground to rot. Worms coming out of the dead bodies, all because the morgues were full. Right there at Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital. With time, we've been able to climb the ladder of decency and respect for human lives. Today, we are told that there was a man lurking around the place, claiming to be a medical doctor. How did he enter the place? Did he enter there wearing his crop dress? or it was in his backpack, and when he entered, he decided to put it on. How many more such fake doctors are there? And fake nurses are there? My brother, my sister, how is the security situation like at Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital? My brother, my sister, we were in this country when one guy, in fact, working with SNIT, came with fake degrees. And he was there and took so much money, my brother, my sister, driving this country into an almost disreputable situation. Today, my brother, my sister, we also can look at some other such things happening in other hospitals. Can we beef out our security, especially in our hospitals? Imagine this guy has access to a man who has so much, the death of who will give him so much. Especially that we live in a country where people are waiting for their uncles and fathers to die so they can inherit so much. Imagine this guy hired as a killer, an assassin, and he has such an easy access into the hospital. Listen, the hospital can pretend as much as it wants and try to defend itself because you are paid to talk. At the end of the day, the hospital still has a disreputable name of stolen babies and corpses lying on the ground, rotting up, and worms coming out. In a decent society, this should never have happened. I leave it here. Next thing I want to look at quickly, and I need you to come along, and this is what everybody is talking about. Alan Kyerematen. Now, reasons I am withdrawing from the NPP primary, and this is Alan Kyerematen. He's giving reasons. Alan Kyerematen, a leading contender in the New Patriotic Party flag bearership race, announced his formal withdrawal from the race as it headed into the November 4 final round. My brother, my sister, and we're going to look at them. He said, number one, August 26 vote was skewed to favor unnamed candidates. We all know who he's talking about. Number two, violence during August 26 vote. And the third one, he says process is still skewed ahead of November 4. I'll leave it here. Listen, brethren, it breaks my heart when the party in power is accusing itself of doing this thing to itself. So much violence. People's eyes were scooped out. People were slapped left, right, and center. People threatened the showdown. People disrespected the president of their own party. If they can do this to their own party, then it is very easy to do it to Ghana. After all, they don't even have Ghana at heart. Alan Kyerematen is going away. He's saying bye-bye to his party. He's saying enough is enough. Oh, what a shame. So this is how far the Lord has brought us. The battle is the Lord's. And the Lord has brought us to the forefront of violence and skewing of election results. Oh my God. Alan Kyerematen and Ajakun have come together to expose this dirty party. But what do I care about Alan Kyerematen? Who is he to Ghana? He's a villain. Alan Kyerematen was with this president, this dirty-minded president, a mind that has no iota of patriotism. My brother, my sister, together they ruined this country. Together, Alan Kyerematen, Nana Akufo-Addo, they all came together to ruin this country. Even if we were idiots, Alan Kyerematen withdrawing will never bring a tear out of my eyes. I applaud you and ask you to go back, rebaptize, and come clean. You all are villains. You are dirty-minded people People can cry that Alan Kyerematen has decided to move out. I will applaud you. That go far away from us. You demons. This is what you've done to our country. And we leave you as such. Well, my name is Blakk Rasta, and I want to say thank you so much, Martin.